Good evening, lovely viewers. My name is Efrah Noor and you're watching DALSAN TV, and this is the news bulletin, and here are our top stories for tonight. In political news, the Banadir Regional Court in Mogadishu has revoked the earlier arrest warrant against Jubaland leader Ahmed Mohamed Islam, also known as Ahmed Madobe. In a notice issued today by the court, the previous order dating back to 2024 has been formally withdrawn. The original warrant was issued at the height of political tensions between the federal government and Jubaland amid disputes over authority, elections, and federal-state relations. Today's decision marks a significant legal development in that long-running standoff. Somalia's cabinet has appointed General Ibrahim Mohamed Mohamud as the new Chief of General Staff of the Somali National Army. The appointment was confirmed during Thursday's cabinet meeting in Mogadishu. General Mohamud, a graduate of the Turkish Military Academy, replaces Odawa Yusuf Rage, who was dismissed from the post earlier today. The announcement comes as the government praised what it described as a crushing victory against Al-Shabaab in Jabad-Godane, where officials say more than 550 militants were neutralized, including 80 foreign fighters.
The appointment of General Ibrahim Mohamed Mohamud as the Chief of General Staff comes as the federal government projects confidence in its military campaign against Al-Shabaab. During Thursday's cabinet meeting, officials confirmed the leadership change at the top of the Somali National Army, describing it as part of broader efforts to strengthen command and coordination. General Mohamud, a graduate of the Turkish Military Academy, replaces Odawa Yusuf Rage, who was dismissed from the post. At the same meeting, the government announced what it described as a crushing victory in Jabad-Godane, saying more than 550 militants were neutralized, including foreign fighters. While independent verification of the figures has not been released, the announcement signals the government's intent to demonstrate momentum in the fight against the insurgency as security operations continue across several regions.
Political tensions escalated sharply inside Somalia's federal parliament this week. A session meant to discuss constitutional amendments descended into chaos, with lawmakers shouting, blocking proceedings, and forcing the speaker to suspend the sitting without any business concluded. At the same time, a motion to remove the same speaker, Adan Mohamed Noor, also known as Ahmed Madobe, is circulating among members of the parliament. Parliamentary sources say 83 lawmakers have signed the motion so far, short of the roughly 93 signatures required to formally table it. Following the unrest, opposition leaders issued a joint press release accusing parliamentary leadership of procedural abuse and warning against rushed constitutional changes without national consensus.
A session intended to discuss constitutional amendments quickly collapsed as opposition lawmakers blocked proceedings, accusing parliamentary leadership of pushing changes without consensus and potentially affecting election timelines. The speaker was forced to suspend the sitting amid the confrontation. At the same time, dissatisfaction inside the House translated into political action. Lawmakers began collecting signatures for a motion to remove the speaker, with 83 MPs currently backing the move, still short of number required to formally table it. The standoff then spilled outside the chamber as opposition leaders issued a joint statement condemning the process and calling for inclusive national dialogue involving federal member states, civil society, and traditional leaders. Together, these developments point to a parliament under strain as Somalia approaches critical political milestones.
In regional diplomacy, President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud last night officially closed the 27th Horn of Africa Finance Ministers meeting in Mogadishu. The meeting brought together finance ministers and senior economic officials from across the Horn of Africa to discuss economic cooperation, financial reform, debt management, and development priorities. In his closing remarks, President Hassan Sheikh emphasized Somalia's re-engagement with regional institutions and called for stronger economic integration to support stability and growth.
The 27th Horn of Africa Finance Ministers meeting concluded last night in Mogadishu, underscoring Somalia's renewed engagement in regional economic diplomacy. Finance ministers and senior officials from across the Horn gathered to discuss economic cooperation, fiscal reform, debt management, and development priorities at a time when the region faces shared economic pressure. In his closing remarks, President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud emphasized Somalia's re-entry into regional financial dialogue, highlighting ongoing reforms and the importance of economic integration for long-term stability. Participants acknowledged Somalia's progress while stressing the need for continued cooperation to strengthen regional resilience and support growth across the Horn of Africa.
And internationally, political tensions remain high in the United States following an attack on Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Omar was sprayed with a liquid substance during a town hall event in Minnesota. She was not seriously injured, and a suspect has been arrested. The incident and subsequent recent comments by President Donald Trump have reignited debate around political violence and political rhetoric in the United States. Our reporter Mohamed Saido with more on this story.
In the United States, the attack on Congresswoman Ilhan Omar has continued to draw political reaction. Omar was sprayed with a liquid substance during a town hall meeting in Minnesota. She was not seriously injured, and a suspect was arrested. Investigations into the incident are ongoing. Following the attack, President Donald Trump addressed the issue during a rally last night, where he again criticized Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and made disparaging remarks about Somalia, the country she was born in. In his speech, Trump questioned Somalia's status as a functioning state and made comments that many have described as disrespectful toward the country and its people.
The United States say it will resume World Food Programme food distribution in Somalia following a statement issued today by U.S. foreign assistance. In the statement, Washington acknowledged the federal government of Somalia for taking responsibility for its actions affecting World Food Programme operations, including U.S.-funded assistance. The U.S. said that following this acknowledgement, it will resume WFP food distribution while continuing to review its broader assistance posture in Somalia. The statement also stressed that Trump administration maintains a firm zero-tolerance policy for waste, theft, or diversion of U.S. resources. The issue was raised in our interview 2 weeks ago with Somalia State Minister for Foreign Affairs, Ali Umar, who told us the government was engaging with partners to resolve the matter and safeguard humanitarian assistance. Here's a short clip from our interview with the State Minister.
The US aid was a big support for Somali's education system, health system, and also the humanitarian system. Over the years, one of our first university, Lafole, which is the pillar of Somali's education system, was built by the US. Similarly, the water system of Mogadishu was also built by the US, and also the port of Kismayo, and many more. So we are very grateful for U.S. support in Somalia, and we have very, very good relation. We continue. Times have changed sometimes. Noises go here and there, but our relationship is very, very strong, and we are very grateful. And the U.S. policy is changing throughout the world, not only Somalia. U.S. aid is no longer in the picture, and Somalia is one of those countries that used to get help from the USA. But the U.S. is now finding different modalities, and we are working on with them to use those modalities. But we don't see any specific effect for Somalia. I think this is a universal. The U.S. is changing their policies, and we are working to adapt with that new policy with the U.S., and we are very, very grateful.
That's it from us tonight. For more stories and updates, kindly stay connected to our platforms at DALSAN TV. My name is Efrah Noor, and have a lovely evening.